There was a Syrian brother that I knew. I met him during the days before my own arrest and transfer to Guantanamo. He was a loving father to his 3-year-old son.
أخي صبرا على ألم الفراق.
I last saw him in Bagram in 2002 when US soldiers had beaten him and dragged him into a cell. For 13 years, I never saw him again. His name was Jihad Diab. I did, however, learn about the many things he had to endure patiently. Prior to the revolution in Syria, his wife was imprisoned for an entire year by the Assad regime simply for campaigning for her husband's freedom. In Guantanamo, he also learned of the death of his 15-year-old son in Syria, killed by regime bombs. I cannot imagine how that must have felt. You'd assume he would have been embittered and full of sorrow, and that he'd withered away with time and struggle and torture. I was apprehensive when I finally had the opportunity to contact him and speak to him when he was released to Uruguay, of all places, where he was resettled in 2014. He didn't speak Spanish, he didn't know anyone in the country, and he came wheelchair-bound into a place where there was not even a Muslim community, and was trying to recover after his broken life in Guantanamo, where he'd spent 13 years without charge or trial. Yes, he had aged. I noticed the grey hairs in his hair and his beard, but Jihad was still very much the man he had always been. His smile was infectious, and his care for the remaining prisoners was determined. I could see the nur, or the light, emanating from his face, despite the computer screens between us. He was keen to learn about the world. I referred him to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, things he'd never heard before. I should have been more thoughtful, but he quickly got the hang of it all. The world he knew had changed forever. We laughed together and quipped that such modern subjects are yet to be taught in the University of Yusuf alayhi salam. In other words, prison. He was sad about his son, but he said that he also was happy that he had died a martyr, inshaAllah. I wanted to cry at this response, but I held back my tears and changed the subject. Jihad is a truly special man, and what saddens me more is that his struggle is far from over. Uruguay's extraordinary president at the time, Jose Mujica, a man who'd himself suffered horrific torture and abuse in the military prisons for years, personally came to meet and welcome Jihad. But Jihad desperately wanted to be reunited with his family. He even traveled as far as Venezuela, Brazil, and Argentina, and even crossed the seas to Morocco, but he was refused entry. He went on a hunger strike and nearly died because of it, just so that he could see his family again. I talked to him occasionally and tried to help him, but the situation took its toll on him. I struggled without my family after only 3 years. How does one do so after nearly 16 years? Jihad was eventually reunited with his family back in Syria, but it was a very painful process for him, and one that he still has to live through to this day.
أخي صبرا على ألم الفراق.